of the different things that we have to remember, the Shchiros, the things, the remembrances. One of them is remembering the coming out of Egypt. In fact, throughout the prayers, throughout mitzvahs, many events, we always say, Zecher liyetzias Mitzrayim, in commemoration, in memory of coming out of Egypt. This concept of remembering the being freed from Egypt is fundamental to Jewish life, is fundamental to Jewish existence, is fundamental to Jewish experience. When one knows that he is free, then under any circumstances, he will act so. And in fact, Jewish people have been able to be fiercely independent under any circumstances. No challenge, no moment of adversity, any environment, any circumstance, somehow we were always able to experience and express our freedom to think, our freedom to act. We never allowed any oppressor to really suppress our identity and our reality as a free people. This trait, this particularity, we received as a gift from God when God took us out of Egypt. At that moment, God made us into free-spirited, free people. And forever we will be so until we're going to be totally freed from any bondage with Mashiach. Let me share with you a most, I think, fascinating little anecdote that illustrates so powerfully that notion, that virtue of Jewish freedom. In the 1970s, the early 1970s, there was a huge influx of Russian Jews, of Russian immigrants to Eretz Yisrael. Unfortunately, due to all those years of communist regime, there was a great assimilation, Jews and non-Jews, to the point that many of them who thought they're Jewish, turned out they were not really halachically Jewish. Maybe their fathers, their paternal mother was Jewish, but their mother or their maternal mother wasn't Jewish. And it was a huge issue in ascertaining every single one if he or she is Jewish. Rabbi Lau, former chief rabbi of Israel, Rabbi Yisrael Lau, father of the present chief rabbi, who was at that time chief rabbi in Tel Aviv and who had a Beit Din, who part of his responsibility was to declare some of those immigrants Jewish or not Jewish. And there was a need of tremendous sensitivity, and there was a need of being very careful because you're playing with lives. A young man, relatively young, I should say, 42-year-old man, presents himself in front of the Beit Din, claims that he is Jewish, has no papers to prove. Unfortunately, in Russia, there was a normal thing not to have proper documentation. But he had two witnesses, two Jewish people, reliable witnesses, who claimed that they know that he's Jewish. One of them said, I was at this person's bris. In fact, 42 years ago, I was invited by the parents to participate at a clandestine Brit Milah that took place. And I remember him very well. Then came an elderly Chabad Chassid, known to the community, also just immigrated from Russia. And he said, look, I don't know this man, but I knew his mother. And he says the following. His mother was an important director of one of the big hospitals in Moscow. In addition to that important position, she was also a chain smoker. She would smoke about 2 packs of cigarettes a day. But she had this habit that every night she would take one of the cigarettes, put it away in a special case. Every year, and this was going on for many years, he says, a few weeks before Pesach, she would bring me 365 cigarettes. I would sell it on the black market, buy some fine flour, bake matzahs for her, and if there was any leftover, she would be happy to share it with others. That's how I know that his mother was Jewish. Rabbi Law heard that story. He jumped up and he said, "Communist, schmommunist. This woman is no communist. This woman is a tayere Yiddish neshama. I do the Seder once a year. Every night, 365 nights a year, she did the Seder. What a shining, what a beautiful, special, free neshama. Maybe I'll be freed completely with Mashiach now."